We're going to get into tonight's adventure. Dun, dun, dun,
I wanted to do the transition.
Well, too bad. If you'll recall, at the end of our last adventure, you were in the simulatrix in a demi-plane or a mesh plane at sort of a well-to-do gathering of diplomats, nobles, fancy people in a town hall with, ambassadors and representatives of different nations had all come together, and there were some rats on fire, and those rats on fire had run out into the area, and in an attempt to prevent a diplomatic incident whereby one nation's representative might think another nation was partaking of some mischief, you were trying to quietly solve this problem, which is to say you were trying to put down the rats without anybody blaming anybody else for what's going on, and especially not blaming Gaim, who you are representatives of in your capacity as this cleanup crew. And you found a creative way to go about that process. You distracted the crowds. Armis and Frode did some crowd work to keep everyone's attention, while Willard and Davroid got to work sort of hunting down and killing the rats. And at the end, we sort of pulled it all together, and you felt you had achieved a pretty good success. And then you heard Chasm Jasper, the simulatrix froze, and so the kind of demi-plane and the illusory magic all sort of came to a halt, and you heard Chasm Jasper's voice echo around, "All right, let's run it again." And it was like, what the heck is that all about? I'll tell you what the heck that was all about, because it was another 4 runs of that exercise before you were able to identify the source of the crisis, which turned out to be a surplus of magic outside of the building from all of the retainers and bodyguards and people who were channeling their magic related to all those nations. And so it took you 4 more runs of that exercise just figuring out where is this magical problem coming from, because otherwise just killing the rats doesn't stop this incident or this manifestation. More crazy, fiery things continue happening. And then it took you another, let me see, I rolled for this earlier. It took you another 12 runs of the exercise to solve that problem in a way that didn't disrupt the event and, to disperse all of those different retainers and bodyguards and things. And so we rejoin you now as the sun is going down on the other side of the cabin. We met around sunrise, and you've now done, 16 runs of a 20-minute exercise. I mean, it's been a while. There was no break for lunch. You were in an illusory demi-plane. And so now, as the sun is going down, the wind whistles across the top of the mountains, we join frustrated, exhausted. Well, actually, you might not be frustrated. I don't want to tell you how you're feeling. You're definitely tired, though. Adventurers, as you emerge back from the simulatrix, you have all of the resources you went in with, so you can refill your pools and those sorts of things. Your if you spent any ciphers, you can have them back. If you want them back, you can leave the slot open. If you want to leave it open, I'm going to leave that up to you guys. But we find you sitting back in the cabin. It's one pristine, golden, glistening, ornate fireplace along one wall, and everything else, cobwebs and holes in the cobblestone walls with like kind of the warm glow of the sun, the last embers of sunset kind of dripping down. And that's where we find you. How's everybody doing right now? Take me into, like, how are you feeling at the conclusion of a day like that?
Does physical exertion carry through the simulatrix? Like, when we come out, are we as if we had done whatever physically we did in the simulatrix?
It did not.
Okay.
Frode is less talkative and is more or less taken time to sit down in front of the fireplace and stare at it. He says nothing.
I think Armis is also pretty distraught. He tends to try to keep a nice levity in the room, but he's very frustrated that it took so many fake songs and dances alongside Frode to figure out that we needed to go outside.
So am I correct in understanding that you approached the exercise the same way each time you ran it?
I think he tried several different acts, but
Frode would have gone along with that at least, for sure.
I think he would have just tried to more effectively distract the crowd.
Got it.
And make sure that there was never anything getting right up there and make sure the fire was immediately kind of tended to.
I think Davroid, after the first 2 times, would have begun looking elsewhere for answers, and that's probably when he got the idea to at least look outside. But when he did that on the third attempt, it was probably too late, or he did it in a way that just was very disruptive. And so that's how like the fourth attempt was like the one where they really discovered what they needed to do. But he's like looking over his notes because he has like notes from each attempt. Just like replaying everything in his head if like he could have caught something quicker.
Willard will kind of trot through the entrance to the cabin, and with his man, he loves this hat, but he has it off. He's respecting the rules of what needs to happen to not make this day any worse than it has been. And he's going to kind of take in this this kind of, you know, we're worn out, we're kind of distraught from how this day has gone, and he'll kind of nod his head and go over to the fire and once again produce his tea kettle and his brewing supplies and kind of give everyone a look and a nod and say, "Peach tea cures all ills," and starts making his tea and sits down next to Frode and Armis, just kind of taking in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Frode Frode just scrunches his brow a little and scowls, but nods his head yes.
Armis gets a little smile at the thought of tea. Sorry.
Davroid takes his tea and joins everyone at the fireplace and holds out his flask for anyone after he pours a dash of it into the tea. Anyone?
Armis definitely gets a little bit in there. Just a touch.
Frode nods his head after some thought.
And then Davroid pours it in those two. Willard?
"Oh, no, I prefer the tea to be pure." And he kind of takes a sip out of his cup and looks back at everyone and says, "Well, I'd prefer we didn't have to spend extensive amounts of time in the evil magic box. So I believe it's time that we start to work as a team, if we're going to be stuck like this anyways."
I don't think teamwork was the problem there. We just didn't think about the problem.
We didn't talk to each other about the problem.
No.
Back in my day,
If
you had a squad going out to tackle an objective, you coordinate. You'd say, "You take this, I will take that," and you have constant back and forth. In this case, it was just songs and dances and running around with our tails on fire.
The songs and dances were pretty fun, though. They were pretty good.
The first attempt we had was pretty good in terms of just like going along with things, you know.
Listen here, I just want to put my 2 cents in if we're gonna.
As Frode begins speaking and says he's going to put his 2 cents in, he probably inadvertently glances towards the bag sitting in the center of the room that Chasm Jasper had left you with before storming out after the incredibly long training session from the past day. And you are reminded that you've been given a very paltry amount of resources with which to kind of decorate or, you know, bring in any tools or whatever you think you might need. Basically, this is what the Gemstone Guardians as an organization thinks that you are worth budgetarily. And in terms of the cipher system, you have enough for 8 inexpensive purchases and 1 moderately expensive purchase in that bag. You may continue, Frode.
I think your magic acuity could have used a little work. I think me and Armis got along pretty well, and I just, if y'all just could see the flow and what was happening, I think this would all have worked out a lot better.
I think that it's quite easy to point fingers, and I don't think that I am lacking fault in our success rate here. I acknowledge I have problems too, but our ability to improvise is not everything. We need to be able to coordinate as well.
I mean, me and Armis coordinated, and it seemed like you all coordinated, and we all coordinated about what we were doing. I don't see what the issue was in that front.
Like I said, I think the teamwork itself and coordination weren't the problem. It was just, and we didn't think about the larger problem at hand and the objective and assignment and what the purpose of these exercises are. And that's on me for not catching that. It's literally my job to notice these things. So I'll definitely shoulder that blame.
Think you all overthink this.
You're saying we need to think outside the magical box, as it were.
Ooh, I like that.
We need to assess a problem from an outside perspective, not from just what we can see and perceive. We need to think about the problem in its entirety and how it's affecting the area around us.
You know what helps me in times like this? A little breath of fresh air. And he's gonna chug his tea really quick, pull out some smokes. I'm gonna go for a goddamn walk. And he's gonna grab enough money out of the bag for like at least 2 little items. I'll be back.
I think that's a great idea. And Frode stands up, walks over to the bag, grabs enough for just 1 item, and walks away.
Willard is just going to turn to Davroid. Do you think... I don't know. I kind of feel like I know how to speak your language, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I just don't know how to talk to these. I don't know. You're a pup too, I guess, but I don't know what they're talking about half the time.
They are certainly spry and energetic.
We cut outside. Are the two of you talking about anything?
I don't know if we went the same directions
Okay.
or different directions.
Great,
What do
then-
you think?
Yeah, let's maybe Armis, are you going anywhere in particular? Like, are you trying not to be found? You left first, so maybe we'll follow Armis first.
I think I'm just gonna go down maybe along the kind of path that we had initially run for the first kind of little exercise where I was on the wall. Just
Okay.
kind of maybe take a little a crawl along the wall while smoking a cigarette.
You have plenty of hands to like keep one free for smoking even while you're like kind of climbing and spidering along the side of the wall here. And as you make it out to the kind of moonlit summit, you know, on the other end of sort of the PT course, if you will, you know, it's basically an obstacle course. You get to the end of it, which is another slightly lower peak of the mountains. You have a pretty good uninterrupted view of the world around you. And with your sharp eyes, you know, there's not a lot that gets by you. You notice that same weird storm cloud that's off to the east is still just kind of there, sitting in place, not following the movement of the rest of the clouds. Otherwise, you know, very scattered cloud cover, no rain or anything like that. You know, everything looks sort of well with the world. You do notice that, like, just at the foot of the mountain range, it looks like there's some kind of caravan or troop or traveling, you know, a set of carts are traveling in tandem. So you're not really sure, you know, what necessarily their business might be, but they're kind of traveling as a group, and there's a bunch of them kind of rolling in towards town, maybe merchants or something coming in. and they appear to have kind of made camp for the night, and maybe are sending a representative or something up the trail towards Geim. You see, one or two people in kind of traveler's clothes. They don't look very threatening or anything, but they're starting to enter the woods at the base of the mountains and begin their climb up towards the entrance to Geim. And are you doing anything to like hide yourself out there, or are you just kind of chilling on the peak, or what? What's you doing?
I think I'm just kind of sitting on the edge of, well, I would like to, it's a fun image for him to just be hanging there on the side and just have the gentle glow of his little cigarette there. So I don't think he's super hiding himself, but like if anyone was to look up, they would just see just a little bit, the tiniest little embers of that lighting up and then going out just a teeny bit as he pulls on it.
Do you think Frode notices that, Cleo?
I was about to ask. Frode's actually looking for something.
Okay.
Perhaps looking for it, he might notice it.
Sure. Why don't you have Frode roll for what Frode finds? And maybe the chat will have something to do with what Frode finds, too.
Oh.
Chat
I don't even
spending
have
some
chat
points
open.
out there.
Well,
my
Frode
goodness.
is looking for a secluded gland.
Gland?
Glade.
Oh, okay. I understand now.
Gland.
I'm with you.
I rolled a 19.
You rolled a 19. Frode does find... You're looking for a particular glade, am I right?
Not in this case. He's had to uproot, and so he's looking for somewhere new.
You do find a glade not far away. It is the opposite direction that Armis went, so you don't necessarily like lock eye contact with each other, although probably the two of you are aware that you're like in the same space, but you haven't gone over and talked to him or anything like that.
Sure.
You go a different way. You kind of follow along, the peak of the mountain a little ways down to where the tree cover begins, and there is a little glade there, like you're talking about, where maybe, one of the naturally forming mountain lakes has kind of fed down into it. And then there's this brief little glade with a little bit of water there. And then it kind of continues down and becomes a river later that leads out of the mountain range. However, as you get to the glade, which from above looked like it was going to be perfect, but you get down there and something doesn't feel right to Frode. You feel like there's kind of a weird... it almost seems like there's a weird mist hovering above the ground, just kind of rolling towards you. And as it kind of moves, you're like, oh, that's moving too consistently to be wind. Whatever's happening here is not natural. And as little tendrils of the mist begin kind of reaching out towards you,
What's your game?
It does not answer you. The mist just reaches out towards you and begins kind of spiraling around. It swirls around your feet, and you begin to feel a cold sensation. You take 1 point of damage to your might pool from the ambient kind of chill damage of it, and you get the sense that whatever's happening here is very, very magical in nature.
Okay. Armis!
Armis, from your quiet, you're like off, you're smoking your cigar, and all of a sudden off in the distance you just hear
Armis!
echo across the mountains. You can, from where you are, you're up high, so you can see the glade that Frode is in and the weird mist tendrils that are kind of spiral. At this point, they've started climbing up his legs like socks, like kind of spiraling around and encasing him. And the mist from where you are, you can see that there's almost like a greenish sheen to the mist, the way that there has been in some of the other knots of arcane magic that is out there.
Oh, God.
Do you have a name?
Jeez Louise. God damn it. I think he just starts bolting towards it. Can I do any sort of like little insight check along the way to like figure out what the heck is going on right now?
Have I
Absolutely.
offended you?
You can make an intellect task to see what you understand. And there's not a fail condition here. The higher you roll, the better you'll do. So you can apply effort, which will count as a +3 if you want.
Are you real?
Jeez. I rolled a 4. I think I'm just all worked up. I was trying to relax and now I got to deal with fucking
Yeah. Frode
again.
Frode, roll an intellect defense roll.
I rolled an 11.
You take 1 point of ambient cold damage as something
Okay.
begins pressing against your mind, but you're already engaging here. You're trying to figure out this thing's name, so you're mentally present and you can kind of resist the urge at this stage. But it's sending chills like everywhere it touches your body. It's like goosebumps, chills, and it's like that cold burn that's like not enough to leave a burn. Like if you hold an ice cube or an ice
Sure.
pack on your skin too long, it starts to sting instead of helping. It's like that.
Okay,
As this mist is there.
If you're semi-intelligent, I perhaps maybe offended your territory. I will back up, and I'm going to try to back up to when I first saw the mist.
Okay.
And maybe 5 steps back from that.
As you step backwards, you step right out of the mist. It's not like it's grappling you or anything. It kind of parts and you step away. It looks like dry ice. And so it kind of like water falls back off of you and kind of collects on the ground. However, it is still roiling towards you. And as you now step out of it, you realize that it's spreading outwards from the lake in the glade. So the lake is perhaps the source of this thing, and it's spreading in all directions. So it's not just towards you, it's also rolling down the mountain and following the stream a little bit.
Well, this is our job now, right, Frode? Yes. Yes, it is. And he... Armis, I'm going in! And he yells that out loud, and he just
stupid son of a...
starts running down towards the lake.
Within the cabin, you probably don't hear him yell, "Armis, I'm going in," but you definitely hear Armis yell back
Oh, you stupid son of a...
as he continues sprinting on his way towards.
Well, back in my day, it's we should probably
Gear up.
Willard like reluctantly stands back up and it's like, let's see what this is about.
Yep, Davroid will proceed to walk out of the cabin.
Cleo, what's Frode doing?
Frode is running right down towards the lake to the source to find the problem.
All right, take 1 point of ambient damage, but you are able to reach the lake. It's only a short distance away, less than 30 feet, basically. So you can easily sprint down there. And let's check in next with Armis. Armis, you are flying as fast as your 8 legs can take you, right?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Armis the Sepider zooming down. Do you still have the cigarette in one hand?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's still good. He didn't want to sacrifice
7 legs,
it.
as fast as 7 legs can take you. Armis zooms down the mountain.
Just wanted one night. Just one night.
Podcast listeners, the imagery that Mike is providing for the stream is worth watching the YouTube video of this for by itself. If you do nothing else, go watch that. Maybe that'll be a short. Armis zooms down there. Armis, you make it to the edge of where the mist is, but this round you won't be able to go in and do anything. The other two of you step outside and you see Armis zooming down the mountain towards Frode, and you can see from the high peak where this cabin is, you can see down to where they will be and what's happening down there.
Okay.
Is it reasonable to assume Frode just ran into the mist?
You can still see him. It's like dry ice, so it hasn't climbed over
okay.
his body. It's like shin height. Although as he steps
okay.
back in, it's going to begin kind of spiraling around him and climbing up again.
I would like to roll, I guess, an intellect roll
Okay.
to see if this thing has any sort of sapience to it.
Sure.
If maybe a spirit is behind this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I rolled a 10.
You don't think that there's a spirit or a mind controlling it, but you do get the sense that in the lake there is a something that this is a side effect of. So the fog is not actually the unstable magic. The fog is a result of something happening with unstable magic. There is some core element to this that's happening, and it is you'll have to dive into the water to get to it, you're pretty sure.
Willard is going to burrow his way down there, and actually his intent is to burrow underneath the ground where the mist is to see if that will keep him from touching the mist and whether that he can discover anything down there.
Sure, you don't see anything in the ground. It's maybe a tiny bit colder than the ground above, but it doesn't hurt you or anything, and there's no mist down here. You're going to run into the water. Is that your plan, to go into the lake, or are you just trying to be under the mist?
I think he's okay to go into the lake if he doesn't find anything.
Great. As you continue burrowing, eventually you get to the edge and you kind of poke out of all the dirt and stuff, and you get into the water. It begins rushing over you. And as water pours into the hole, you begin holding your breath. Go ahead and make a might task for me to see how long you can hold your breath for.
All right. That's an 11.
An 11, that's the same as a success on a level 3 roll. So you get 3 full minutes of holding your breath underwater.
Nice.
You pull your way into the lake, and your little mole eyes are accustomed to the dark. So you kind of look around and you can see there's like some kind of glowing green thing at the center of the lake. It's pulsing gently, and it is obstructed. So what I mean by that is the cipher is inside of some kind of casing. Whatever this spontaneous manifestation of magic is, there's something that it's in the center of. You also notice a large number of dead fish around you. Everything in the lake has been killed by whatever this is.
Armis?
What's Davroid doing?
Is there an area of the lake that isn't shrouded in the dry ice? Okay. He'll probably run to the bank of the lake and provide support, but he can't swim.
Okay, is he going like the whole way to the bank? Would mean wading into the mist a little ways. Is that the plan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll do
Take
that.
1 point of ambient damage that is cold,
Yep.
and the little tendrils begin writhing around you. They've not climbed up yet. Armis, what are you up to, buddy?
I think he's pretty stressed out. We were just having a talk about teamwork in Frode, and everyone's just kind of running in and doing their own things. Can I see the green thing in the middle, or would I need to get in there?
You would
Armis?
probably need to get in there to see what
All right.
Willard saw.
Can I either do another one of the little intelligence check, or just shout out, does anyone know what is happening right now?
You can just shout that. You don't need to roll a check for that.
Armis?
Great.
There's something going on in the lake.
Okay, where?
Willard's in the
I
lake.
think we've made a decision to use our words, even though I think it's quite clear what actions benefit us most. But I would like to say I'm about to steel myself and walk on the bottom of the lake.
Frode, where's the thing? Tell me where the thing is.
I don't know, it's somewhere in the lake.
Oh, dear God.
Guys, I can't swim, so I'll provide support from outside the lake.
Okay,
All right.
super duper.
Listen, I'm gonna go in there. I don't know where the old short fellow is, but
He's in the lake.
he's in the lake. When did he get in the lake?
He's in the lake, Davroid says for the third time.
Can Willard hear me? Can Willard tell me what's
Willard is
happening?
underwater.
Yeah,
He's
Willard
under
can't
the
hear
water.
you at all from underwater.
Oh my God.
Willard is bad
Okay.
at taking his own advice.
All right.
Okay,
All
great.
right. Listen, Armis, we're working to go, right?
We're going to try. Look, I've got something silly that I want to try and do. Can I just kind of aimlessly throw my cipher shockwave in there? Is that going to be like a concussive force in the middle of the lake that'll hopefully clear out some of the fog and maybe see what's happening?
So yes and no. Your ciphers are targeted like they originate on yourself. So it will be a shockwave out from where you are. So if you want it to be centered in the lake, you would need to
Okay.
hop in the lake and activate
All
it. But
right.
you could activate
All right.
it where you are, and it might push the mist away across the top of the lake.
I think he's just gonna get in the mix. Fine, if we're gonna do teamwork, we're all getting in the lake, except for Davroid. You be a good sport. We'll let you know what's going on.
Well, all right, Armis, I can hold my breath for a long time here. So how about you hold on to me and I walk us in? Well, I'm gonna jump in, but I'll jump us in, and we can
That's
stick
great.
together.
While they're still talking, I'm just gonna back on top. Do whatever the heck you want to do.
All right, I use muscles of iron, which gives me all might-based actions are eased.
Okay.
That's 2 might points. And I'm gonna cannonball it.
Yeah, you are.
A literal cannonball.
Frode just dives in, and Armis, you are riding him, right? That's the
Hold
plan
on
here?
tight.
Okay. You dive into the water, and as both of you dive in, the mist again kind of recedes a little bit. The water jarringly cold. It's evening. You're in the mountains anyway. Like it's, this is a cold freaking mountain lake. And so as you dive in, Willard, you are still kind of squinting through the darkness, looking at this glowing thing in front of you, and all of a sudden there's just bubbles and swirling dead fish and like movement and shapes. And somewhere in front of you, it looks like a huge rock has just fallen into the water, and then it straightens up. and there in front of you is Frode. Probably hasn't noticed you. Probably looking at the cipher glowing in the distance. So you just see this massive stone thing stand up in front of you and try and walk along the bottom of the lake with a spider riding on its back. I'm going to follow them into the lake, Davroid, unless you have some action you want to do from up there.
He was going to use his third eye ability just to see underwater.
Sure. That's cool. So you're just like putting the sensor down there?
Yeah.
Awesome.
As far as he can. It
Sure.
says short range, so it's not crazy far.
That's fine.
But
If you're on the bank or like near the bank, then you can easily get into the water.
cool.
Yep.
That's what he will do.
Perfect.
What does that look like?
It's invisible. No one notices anything unless you see Davroid. But otherwise, it's
okay.
invisible.
Yeah.
Wait. Do I see it? I can see invisible things.
What?
I think you don't because it's suspended above you, but if you looked, you would see just like a glow. This one would not be like teal and pulsing. This would be like very channeled, like shiny, like almost like arcane metal object. It's just
Frode
floating
probably
above
wouldn't
you.
notice it.
It would look a little bit like an eye.
Interesting.
Okay.
So what does Davroid see exactly? He sees everything, I guess.
I guess he sees everything. Let's find out what he sees. So Frode, it looks like from your miming that you are just marching along the bottom of the lake towards the cipher.
Yeah. Do we need to roll might for our breath?
You don't, right? Because I guess you do. You
Yeah,
still,
that's the catch-22. I
yeah.
know.
Armis, I need you to roll might for your breath.
Sure.
Got it.
7.
7. You get 2 minutes underwater with your breath held, which is honestly going to be plenty of time for this.
Yep.
Frode, you're just stomping along the riverbank. Willard, are you swimming up with him, or are you?
Yeah, Willard was gonna catch up and almost like kind of like shoulder tap him just to like show like, hey, I'm here too, and then kind of also point a claw at the various dead fish and kind of like point a claw at his head, like, be smart, we don't know what we're walking into, and then kind of keep swimming alongside.
Bubbles come launching out of Frode's mouth as he attempts to communicate with his teammates.
Willard can't breathe underwater, like apparently Frode can, so he's not gonna reply.
Poor Armis, your cigar or whatever is probably out as well.
Definitely.
You all kind of as a group of 3, you begin making your way towards this glowing thing, and as you get close enough, you realize that it is the skeleton of a fish. And it looks like in the center of the fish, the cipher itself, this swirling knot of magic, appears to be tied around a little scrap of some kind of underwater foliage, like a little leaf or plant of some kind. This fish ate it and proceeded to die and spawn this whole thing. There's mist kind of leaking through the bones of the fish. But as you're moving towards it, you realize that the fish is still swimming around. This one is not dead. It's just swimming. And as you get closer, it looks over at you, and its little beady skeletal eyes kind of like hollow gaze towards you, and then it just launches towards you like piranha speed, flying through the water. And it's going to probably just attack Frode because he's the biggest thing in the water. So he is on his way to attack Frode, who needs to make a speed defense roll to get out of the way.
Can I just...
And you're going to be hindered by 1 step for sure.
Can I just attempt to take the damage and take it as a might defense instead?
No.
Like take damage but lower the amount of damage? No. Guarantee the damage hit.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll just give you... Well, the problem is it's actually intellect damage, so why don't you roll an intellect defense?
Oh.
Yeah, but I won't hinder you.
Okay. Here I go. 10.
10. This is a level 3 creature, which means you succeed on your defense roll. However, as it reaches towards you, you get the briefest flashback to a different world, a different time, a different place, strange things happening, and someone saying, "Ah, yes, I control the dead." And then it flashes back to where you are, and you're like, "Oh, I've seen necromancy before. This has something to do with necrotic magic." and this fish thing is there in front of you. What are the other three of you going to do?
Willard is going to attempt to catch the undead fish by surprise and stab it in its eye with one of his throwing knives. He's not going to actually throw the knife underwater because that's really ineffective.
Yeah,
but,
that would be.
Stab it in the eye.
Sure. Go ahead and roll an attack. You get to choose speed or might when you're the attacking creature.
Okay, it will be speed, and I am trained in light weapons, so it's eased by 1.
Perfect.
That is a 16.
16's easily enough to hit a level 3 creature. You shank it in the eye. You do feel like it's not doing as much damage as it ought to, almost as if the skeletal structure is providing a little bit of like resistance or armor to it.
Yeah, there's nothing squishy to actually stab into.
But how much damage do you deal there?
If I'm throwing, it's 4. Sadly, I don't get that same bonus when I'm just using the knife as
So it's a light
knife,
weapon?
So it's 2. Yeah.
Okay. So it takes 2 damage, but you get the sense that it's only taken 1 point of damage, like numerically. Like, there's some level of armor to this thing.
Lovely.
Okay. What about Armis? What you doing, buddy?
Can I try and do one more little intellect roll for this fish to see if grabbing it was a terrible idea?
100% you can.
Okay, great. 18.
You always can.
What?
18.
I just said
18.
Yeah,
Nice.
Go ahead.
That's a great. Sorry, I thought you said A, so I was like, oh, he's just excited about his roll, but you said 18. So with an 18, first off, this is a fairly low level of power in this creature. In fact, you can interpret whatever the translation between the mechanics of the game and the understanding of the character is. Like, you can know and act on the fact that it's a level 3 creature at this stage. You are able to determine that if you were to just grab the fish, not so big a deal. If you just reach in and yoink that cipher, like, there's some level of necrotic damage that's going to be done to you if you can't first cut it off from all the instability it's created around it. Like, you need to isolate the cipher from the mist in order to safely, contain or capture it.
Isolate the cipher from the mist. Can I grab it and get out of the water and take it onto dry land?
So you can try all those things, but it's a number of tasks.
Okay.
So successfully catching it is going to be basically an attack to grapple it. You can try and muscle it with might, but you'd be hindered by the water, or you could try and use speed. Then you would need to get out of the water before it escapes. So basically, it'll make an escape roll against you. And then once you're out of the water, you need to get away from the mist. So three tasks.
Okay. Can I pitch that in this moment is when my spinneret starts working and I try and wrap this fish up in a nice little bundle underwater?
I don't think spiders have spinnerets, but if you were going to develop a weird mutation as an
I have quite a few XP to burn.
I was going to say you could burn some XP on that. If you want this to be an ability that only works in this manifestation, you could burn 2 XP for it. That's a short-term benefit. If you want it to be something that you have in the long run, you can burn 3 XP and you can gain the abilities of a spinneret, which for our purposes will work for grapples in an immediate distance. So it's not like you're stringing webs, but you could tie people up.
Yeah, I will absolutely burn 3 XP.
Cool. And you manifest a spinneret.
Manifest the change you want to see.
That's right. Be the change you want to see in the world.
I grab this fish and I feel a tingle in my ass as I look deep in its eyes, and that fish knows that it just ruined all of the cigarettes I had in my pocket by making me jump in this stupid lake. I assume I will make a roll to see if
So this is an anatomically accurate to spiders spinneret, despite the fact that you are a spider, right? Just making sure I'm understanding.
Sure.
You get to tell me. You're the one spending the XP on it. You have way more agency here.
I gotcha. No, I all I thought is that there's I don't know where else it would be coming out of. I think
mouth?
he just
Or bonus arms.
Spider-Man hands.
Come out some of your bonus arms.
Some of my bonus arms.
Your armpits?
I was. I went to. Oh God, I don't really have a thorax.
Put him in a headlock and grab him with your arms.
Give him a little noogie.
Your elbows, perhaps.
It's all.
Chat says navel is the way to go.
Okay. All right. It's a weird mutation. Yeah, I stick this fish in right by my belly. I pull up my nice shirt and I start pulling a string out of my navel.
The bad lad.
Okay, you are doing that thing, and
Great.
having restrained it, it becomes an easy task to do the rest of what you have to do.
Okay.
Okay.
Super duper.
You eventually swim out of the lake. You break the surface. And you leap out of the lake, sprint out of the mist, and you know at this point the fish is still wibbling and wobbling within the thing, but you know if you can just like reach in there and grab the cipher, you should be able to channel and absorb it into yourself.
Quick question. Did I run him out of the lake, or did he just jump off
I think he left.
Okay.
Yeah. I was getting.
Josh, as soon as I see him coming up, I'm going to end my ability and then rush over to where he is emerging from.
Okay.
While he's doing that, yeah, I have it on the ground. I grieve my smokes, and I jam my hand inside of it to grab the cipher.
Okay. You jam your hand inside of it to grab the cipher. You make one last intellect defense roll as the fish tries to bite you because you have to release the webbing to get through the bones. And then we'll move on.
13.
13. Easily avoid that. Reach in there and you absorb the cipher. You have absorbed a necrotic cipher. It is a cipher that will allow you to it basically deals extra damage. So it deals 3 extra points of damage.
Nice. Is it? Do I have to roll for the level?
No, it's a level 3 cipher. Deals 3 points
Gotcha.
of necrotic damage, and it's a touch effect. So you can touch something and essentially suck a little bit of life out of it. In fact, it's cooler if you can also restore those 3 points to any of your 3 pools. So that's what it does. It lets you recover 3 points by sucking them out of the life force of something else.
Oh my gosh.
The mist just suddenly dissipates, and it's a quiet night. Frode stomping through the water.
What was that?
Frode, come sit next to me for a moment, please.
Frode's still in the lake.
What happened, Armis?
A big angry fish came at us. I shot webbing out of my belly button and I wrapped it up.
I didn't know you could do that.
I didn't either, to be quite frank. I think it was a very emotionally triggered event between having a conversation about teamwork and watching one of our teams stroll into a lake without communicating, and also having my cigarettes be irreversibly damaged.
We can get you
Frode
more.
finally emerges from the lake and rejoins the group.
Hello! Did you get taken care of the fish yet? I have a thing where one of these tattoo dealies. I could turn it into a ball. Where is it?
It's all done, Frode.
Oh.
We've done it. We've done the thing. How about we all sit in a circle?
Very good.
Let's all sit in a little circle real quick. Is that all right with everyone?
But who gets to sit facing north?
You, if you want.
Well, no. I shouldn't face north.
I'll
That would
face
be
north, Frode.
preposterous.
I'll face north, Frode. That's okay.
Okay.
I don't want to trouble
Very
you.
good. It's not my first choice on who should face north,
Okay,
but it should work.
Thank you.
Willard's head pops up from under the ground next to you guys. He's all muddy because he was just in the water, but then he burrowed back into the dirt.
Oh, hey, you were there.
Armis, you handled that with extreme. You did a great job.
Thank you so much, Willard.
I would agree. That was. I just kind of walked.
MVP.
Why are we here right now? Why did this happen?
I think this is an example of the wild magic that Jasper has been telling us about and the problems we'll need to solve.
Oh, so you're telling me it's a test, just like the souls eating contraption.
No, I think this is just an example of things we'll have to face in the world.
No, but why was Frode in the mist already when we came out here? Did it attack
that I don't
you?
know.
I was just going for a little walk. I was looking for something, and instead something found me. As what tends to all to happen, but I should have expected it.
So, I don't like what happened. I'll be honest. I'm very wet. I'm very smokeless, and I want nothing more than to not yell at Frode right now. And so,
Me too.
if we can, that's fantastic. If we could all come up with piggybacking on what you were saying, Willard, maybe we can have a few code phrases or something, a sort of thought process that allows us to think through what we're doing. Frode, how about you shoot us a shot about what you think that might look like?
Code phrases about thinking. Okay. Thunk.
I love it. Frode, if I scream thunk at you, you stop entirely what you're doing and you wait for us, okay? Can we do
This is a
that?
great system.
I usually don't make deals like this without trading something, but you know what? I trust you enough. I think I can make this deal.
Okay, thank you so much. We can add on, if there's other fantastic words, situations as they arise, we can add beyond thunk. Maybe bunk means leave me alone for the night. I don't know. I'm pretty beat, folks.
Yeah, that was intense, and I'm sorry I couldn't do more, but I never learned how to swim.
That's all right. Do you want to learn sometime? We could certainly have a little class. Maybe that'd be fun bonding. Frode could hold you up on the bottom while you try and float.
I mean,
I don't know if that's
maybe not now.
Maybe.
a great idea. I've learned breathing is actually really important for most of y'all, and it used to be important for me.
That is an interesting statement that I think if it weren't late, I would ask more questions.
Yeah, we should all go get our rest. Who knows what Jasper will have us do tomorrow.
Ooh. All right. Well, is this well, I'm going to continue what I was doing because I would like to finish that now that the crisis has been averted, and then I'll also go for the rest.
What are you doing or looking for?
I'm going for a walk.
I think that's the best we're
Frode
going to
is
get.
very evasive and very obviously evasive.
Clearly. All right.
I would also like
I'm
to
going
finish
back to the cabin.
I would also like to finish the walk I was having. Davroid, you are the only one here I could imagine smoking. Please tell me you have at least one I can bum off of you.
Davroid pats down himself and then pulls out a really wrinkled cigarette from just all of the stuff we've been through.
Do you
It's
mind?
kind of dirty.
Is it like a wallet
Go.
cigarette? Like he just always has the one with him?
Yeah. But it's really crappy and dusty, dirty, like a last resort sort of thing.
If this isn't too special to you, I would really appreciate it right now.
It'll mean more for you right now.
I'll get you back. Thank you so much.
You're good.
He pops the very wrinkly, dusty cigarette in his mouth. Do you have a lighter too? I guess my matches are all wet.
Yeah,
Yes,
Davroid
well.
will strike a match and light it for him.
Thanks. With a heavier cough than a normal cigarette would give him. All right, I'm gonna go back to my little spot and just chill out for a bit, guys.
I'll be at the cabin.
By the way, did Frode notice the caravan on his search?
No, I don't think he did, because Frode went the opposite direction.
Okay.
So he headed down to the tree line. Although it's reasonable to think that now that the air has cleared, maybe he does. Do you want him to? What's better for your scene? You're about to tell us a story about Frode. We're following you next.
I might go to the caravan if I notice it.
Sure. Frode, as the group kind of is walking away, you know, the smell of dust and cigarette smoke is kind of fading off into the mountain. You kind of glance back out at the vista. You know, you're a person who likes to take in a landscape sometimes. And now that there's no mist, you can see it. And there's, you know, the trees leading down and away from you. And you notice that there's a caravan that's kind of set up just kind of like a makeshift camp. It's not like they're, at least right now, giving any indication that they're like moving in or pitching tents or anything. It's just like, oh, they've, you know, stopped their wagons and there's a little fire going at the center of them. And, you know, the carts are kind of very standard fantasy wagons. So, you know,
Sure.
big wooden frames, canvas, kind of half circles over the top. And that's what you see down there. It is, you know, it's a ways away from you. Like, it would be a significant walk, but you could certainly get there in an hour or two.
Is it downhill?
Yes.
There's only one way to go downhill.
No.
And Frode just sits down, pats the ground a little bit, looks around, he just licks his finger, even though it doesn't really have a lot of saliva.
It's
just
covered
kind of,
in lake water.
yeah,
Tastes like dead fish.
holds it up as if though he can feel anything through his stone hands, which he can't. He's like, nods his head. And then he just grabs his knees and tucks forward.
Armis is just on this. Armis is back on his little spot on the wall.
Armis, you hear the chaos as Frode rolls away from you.
I turn away.
Plausible deniability.
One's enough.
Frode, you get to the bottom of the hill with a final crash as you kind of emerge from the woods, and now you're at the bottom of the tree line, and it was pretty quick. You do take Jake, roll a d6.
All right.
Can I
6.
roll
6
to
might-
resist?
No, 6 points of ambient might damage.
Okay.
As you slam through trees. This is the downside of your approach.
That's fair.
But you do make it down there in like minutes instead of hours. As you emerge at the bottom of the hill.
Do I arrive anywhere near the caravan, or do I think I will? It's more important that if I think I will.
I think it's funnier if you do, actually. I think you emerge right in front of the caravan, so there's a bunch of really startled people at their fire who look up towards you. There's like four people in their traveling pants and everything. You know, they're like dusty, you know, road-worn cloaks are folded up next to them on the ground, the kind of plains grasses. They all look up from their, you know, bowls of broth that it's, you know, all they can make with their traveling supplies. They look up and there's just this huge rock creature emerging out of the woods toward them.
I want it to be like, I come in peace as I roll down the hill.
Sure. You yell that, and they sort of seem to understand you. Like, nobody's gone for their swords, you know, but they're all just looking up at you. These are like dusty road-worn folk. They're not like,
Oh, of course.
you know, they're not like knights errant or anything. They look up at you as you emerge. You hear just off in the distance a startled like from one of their horses.
Ooh, that was a little rough. Hello. By the fact that you haven't put weaponry on me, you know, I have to say, very polite, and I see you understand the common tongue. Also, you all would be dead if I was evil. I could have just yelled that out loud and then proceeded to kill you all. But, that's not who I am. Sorry. Knocks escaped the head.
Are you looking for employment? You would fit in great with our troop.
And
you notice for the first time there's like some, instruments and stuff leaning against walls of the carts and things like they're like, oh, there's maybe some performers in this group of travelers.
Frode perks up at that, and he's about to say yes. And then he catches himself. He's like, you almost got me there. Now, normally I'd like to say yes, but sadly, I've already indentured myself to another cause. Though, if you're still around in a year, I'll gladly take you up with that deal. But actually, I came here to negotiate, perhaps to trade, barter even.
Trade for what?
Sorry, I got a few pebbles in my throat there. Originally, I was going to go, as I saw you, I thought of something, and I realized a friend of mine might want something more, so some of you wouldn't happen to have, good smoking implements of the sorts? I'm just looking for something to burn.
Oh, you just looking for a smoke? Yeah, we got some stuff. We got some weeds and stuff.
I'd like some of your better quality. I don't want the relaxation kind. I want the kind you sit down on the weekend and enjoy, and a once in a while.
Isn't that kind for relaxing?
Well, it's the different kind of relaxing. You relax
You're
and
a
you.
strange fella. I think we can. I have no idea actually if what we have will help you, but we've got some cigars and stuff. Like we can sell you some stuff. I mean, here, let me go and see what we got in the cart. He opens up one of the carts, and you see that it opens not from the back like a normal wagon would, but he just folds down the side of it, and it's a concession stand. And you see, a couple different like bright colors of paint and things like that. Decorating it, some signage declaring that it's a concession stand, and he starts kind of digging around through drawers and things like that. You see a few different options. You notice this big roll of, it's not hay, but it's some kind of like prairie grass or wild grass, but it's a little too vibrant to be normal grass. It's probably some level of magical influence in it. And then you see finally he comes back out, and he's got just some like, some average quality leaf. He pulls out a bunch of it, and he says, we can roll you some if you want.
Well, actually, what is that over there?
That you can't have that. That's for Bessie.
Bessie?
Yeah.
Who's Bessie? Bessie looks like they have a good time.
No, Bessie's our unicorn. Bessie has special. You can't grow them grasses here. You have to get them from looking at my notes. You have to. You can't grow those grasses here. Herb Jellythorn and Hembly Who. He gets them special.
All right. Could I negotiate with Bessie over perhaps just a small amount of that?
I don't think Bessie is a negotiating sort.
Well, you never know if you don't try. Have you tried?
Well, how about this? If you stick around till tomorrow and you come see Bessie, then you would be welcome to try and negotiate with her.
All right. Well,
Bessie's going to be right here on this stretch of plains grass. She's going to be here performing with the rest of us.
I'm willing to offer. How much for these smokes that you were offering, I guess?
How about this? If you buy a couple tickets, you can just have them.
Oh, I'm willing to barter for some tickets, then.
All right, they'll cost, and it is a moderately expensive purchase price.
Moderately.
If we recall, you have 8 inexpensive golds worth and 1 moderately expensive golds worth.
How about instead of that, where I come from, we trade in more things than just petty metals. I could give you a piece of living rock, perhaps.
a piece of living rock. We can't get rid of the piece of living rock we have. In fact, if you can figure out how to get rid of this thing, you can have a ticket for free. You'll still need to buy any more for any friends you bring. And he opens up another drawer, and you see that it's like they had started painting this rock or something, like it was supposed to be part of a juggling act, but the rock is just glowing with arcane energy, and swirling around it are just little tongues of fire.
Oh, well, you know what? Yeah, I think I can deal with that.
No, wait,
how about
that's not it. It's like, and he reaches towards it, and it just like flares up in this huge pillar of fire. Armis, where you're sitting, you see just a very brief whoosh of fire up into the air, and then it dies away again from down near where the caravans are. Nothing else appears to be burning or in danger down there. Although if you squint, you're like, oh, I think Frode is down there.
Oh, okay. I think I understand. Now, I could take this off your hands. How about I take it off your hands for 1 ticket and the smokes?
We'll give it to you for 1 ticket and the smokes if you promise that you'll bring some friends to the carnival when you come tomorrow.
Well, I don't know if they'll be able to afford the ticketing price, but if your bartering works just as well, then perhaps. You gotta understand, we live in these woods, all right? We don't live in Gaim. You like look up. You see, you could actually kind of see it if you look up. You see that little glimmer up there, a little to the left. We live in what I can only assume is what most people would consider what used to be the figment of a house.
Armis, as you're looking down, you can't hear anything they're saying or what they're doing, but you say Frode pointing up and sort of in the general direction of the cabin, but like the cabin is definitely hidden from him by the tree line. So he's just kind of pointing up into the mountain.
Armis puts his head in his hands like he's compromising security again.
But what I could offer you is multitudes of my life experience and perhaps a little bit of entertainment in the form of stories, for I have many. I've lived quite a long time.
No, we would prefer money from ticket sales.
If Armis started making his way down the hill.
This is how we make our living.
How about I help you make money on ticket sales?
You could help us make money on ticket sales by buying some tickets.
Well, I'm saying I could do a little bit of marketing here, which, of course, that part of the
Didn't
bargain
you just
would
turn
only
down
be...
employment like 5 minutes ago?
Can we assume this conversation goes on long enough for me to walk down?
Yeah, we can cut away.
This endless bartering.
Armis, you arrive and the conversation is continuing, but you are now there.
All right. Now, if we hold in my hand 3 birds and you have a bush...
Nope, tickets got to be bought.
What's happening?
Oh, no. This is one of my friends. If he buys a ticket and I help you with your stone, then we get the smokes for free.
Armis, you see a stone just erupt in flame. He was gonna take this thing off of our hands and bring some friends to buy tickets, and now he's trying to get out of it.
I never tried to get out of it. I just worried about how much my friends could afford, and I would hate to put on the burden of a promise that I can't fulfill without them being here. But he's one of them.
Frode.
Yes.
I'll take it from here. Is that all right, Frode?
Sure. But should I? I mean, like, I'll deal with the rock if it comes to that. But go ahead.
Can you you can hang out with the fire rock for a sec.
I walk up to Armis and whisper, I felt really bad about your smokes, and I was just trying to get you back one. And I'll be honest, I came down here to try to get a chessboard, but I've been a little distracted trying to get you some smokes that they were offering, and there's been some bartering that's been happening, and I'll handle it in sure time. It only takes like a couple of days of bartering.
Just dead-eyed as Frode is talking to me, just a flame on the side of his face.
Only a couple of days of bartering will work this out.
I appreciate all the effort that you put in to try and haggle your way into some smokes. Do you mind if I just pay for some and talk to this man about what's happening down here?
I mean, if that's what you want to do, I can't stop you.
I will. I mean, I truly appreciate it. If you want, we could smoke some later. I don't know if that's your thing. I would happily share.
I was trying to get the hay grass, but I got to negotiate with Bessie for that one.
I look to the gnome. Who's Bessie?
He leans in. We didn't think it would be worth trying to explain this to your pal, but Bessie is a unicorn.
Uh-huh.
Bessie's not much of a talker.
That saying that would not. Yeah, you're right. No.
Yeah, this is a special feed for Bessie the unicorn.
They'll have a I guarantee you, no matter if that thing can talk.
Yeah.
Frode will have a conversation with it tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah.
That actually might be kind of. Maybe we should market that segment.
It would be fun. Stop trying to exploit my friends. Look, you got tickets for. I don't know. He's clearly a pure soul, and you've allowed him to try and haggle his way. And I assume, look, I'm an ex-diplomat. I know how these things work. Can you close that box?
It doesn't. It's a rock. What are we supposed to do? We don't know how to get rid of it. We were just gonna juggle it, and it started blowing up.
Juggle it. All right. How much are tickets? What kind of show are you guys putting on here?
Here, take a look at this. And he pulls out a flyer, and you can see that the flyer is labeled Mr. Gibbs Arachnobatic Wonderland. It is a traveling Spider circus, and they have all kinds of different acts on there. And you see, like, there's little drawings and icons and stuff on the flyer that kind of indicate the different acts. So it's like. Almost like looking at a tableau of vertical hieroglyphics, but you can see like there's a unicycle and there's a burning stick being juggled in the air, and you can see there's a Ferris wheel, which is a kind of attraction that kind of spins and takes people up really high into the air and brings them back down to the ground again. And there's you see like a firework kind of icon, and then you see at the bottom like the main event of the whole thing is like the inside of this big tent where there's like people on stilts and there's manticores jumping through hoops and all kinds of stuff. Like, we're one of the finest traveling troops the world's ever seen. I mean, we're not. We just kind of tend the carts and stuff. The performers, they're kind of divas. They're all sleeping, but like we just kind of help move things around. So we were hoping to set up and do a show.
Armis shushes him with one of his arms. Armis shushes him with one of his fingers. I love the Spider Circus.
Do we have a deal?
It's to pay you money for tickets, by all means. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not very. It's only moderately expensive.
Absolutely. I don't care how much it costs.
Do you just like hand over the money?
Yeah, I absolutely. Give me the pack of smokes too, if I can.
Oh yeah, 100%. You can have the pack of smokes. Sure. You do the pack of smokes and 4 tickets to Mr. Gibbs Arachnobatic Wonderland.
Frode, I've just done us a solid thing right now.
Do you want me to still deal with the rock?
I have what is the deal?
It would be great if you also dealt with the rock. We don't know why it does that.
Well, can I deal with the rock and then I get a chance to negotiate with Bessie?
If you take the rock with you right now, we don't even care if you deal with it. You can talk to Bessie tomorrow.
All right. And look, we both negotiating.
Frode, I look him sincerely in the eyes. I grab him by the face. Willard and
yes?
Davroid are going to be so happy with us when we get back.
Frode is excited that somebody else sees the potential in this, and he's like, yes.
You could put that in the fireplace. It's going to look so good in the fireplace. It's gonna shoot up. We'll never have to. We'll never have to get coals again.
I just grabbed the rock barehanded.
Can he just be like holding it like up the whole way that we're going up the hill?
Hello, Rock. I'm gonna name you Jeffery.
The idea of a 10-foot-tall hematician who's been turned into a golem holding a rock over his head like the Olympic torch as he walks up a mountain path for 2 hours is awesome. Both of you take an XP.
Oh, thank you so much. The entire way, Armis is talking about his childhood experiences when he was at the circus. And so the best part is when they're all on top of the high wire and they're swinging, but they have like multiple little things that they can grab onto, and they're all swinging, and you don't know which one of their arms is going to grab
Davroid
what.
and Willard, you were jolted awake by the sound of a roaring fire erupting out of a rock as the two of them walk back in, having this conversation about Mr. Gibbs' arachnobatic.
Did you hear that, Jeffery?
Fire in the bowl! Fire in... Oh.
What is happening, guys?
I think Jeffrey's excited for the spidery circus.
Who's Jeffrey?
Oh, hello! Whoa, calm down, Jeffrey. It's
If
gonna
there
be
was a roof to
okay.
burn through, then it would have burned through your roof, but instead it like picks an open hole in the kind of wooden slats and just burns right through
All
it.
right, Jeffrey.
What are you bringing in here? Not in here!
Put it in the
Jeffrey,
fireplace.
No.
Put it in the fireplace. Willard. Willard.
You're gonna go in your home here, Jeffrey, in the fireplace.
What is the, can I roll intellect to figure out, see if I know anything about this?
Yeah, you don't need to roll. It is obviously some kind of wild magic manifestation that instead of attempting to tame or contain, they've just put it in the fireplace and now it occasionally is lit. So your fireplace lights for like a few seconds every few minutes.
Do we want this dealt with, or do we want to leave it?
Jeffrey.
Deal with it. We must deal with it.
What are you talking?
It seems pretty dealt with
whoa.
inside the fireplace. I don't know where else you would deal with it. You know what I mean? Look, guys, I got exciting news. The circus is in town.
Yay. Back to the rock.
Jeffrey is an integral part of our family. All right, I negotiated for his freedom from the slavery he was dealt upon inside of a box.
It's a rock, and the fire pillar will give this location away. Need I remind you?
Away to who?
It's we don't know what it will do. It could lash out to us in the middle of the night. It could burn us up. We don't know.
Can I roll an intelligence check to see if Jeffrey will understand me?
Yes, but it doesn't matter what you roll. You're pretty confident Jeffrey understands.
All right, now Jeffrey, you promised to just listen. I navigated for your freedom, and all we ask is that you just hang out in your new golden home. I've given you a mansion. I think you should be plenty happy with yourself. You give me a good whoosh if you agree. All right, Jeffrey. Okay, what name your price, Jeffrey?
Can we do like a group intelligence check to see what is
All
this
right,
thing?
now, you gotta
Yeah.
negotiate. All right, that's a little high bar for this.
I didn't roll too good. I only got a 7.
It's literally just a manifestation of some wild magic. Probably there were too many pyromancers practicing their fireworks at once or something, and the excess magic got kind of siphoned into something, and it wound up in this rock, and now it occasionally gives a big jet of fire.
Now, all right,
this-
now, Jeffrey,
we-
now what if I give you a little bit of wood every once in a while? Would that make you happy?
Why does it need wood? It's already on fire.
Fine. 2 logs a day. 3? Fine, a whole tree. Ah, there, that's a deal.
Frode, are you cutting down a tree to give this thing every single day?
Now I am.
Well, now that that's settled, we have. I know you guys. Look, we all talked about needing to do group bonding and like teamwork, and so I got us all 4 tickets to the Spider Circus. Ah.
I'm very. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It's exactly right, Frode. Frode is exactly right. And you guys, I can see in your eyes, you're both super excited right now.
Willard's eyes are fixed on the rock, and he just kind of is like, yes, that, wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Good. I'm going to bed.
I'm gonna go chop down a tree for Jeffrey real quick, and I'll be right back.
Armis, what happened?
What do you? now that he's gone, I can understand how this might be a little much. I think we both got caught up in the magic at the moment, but
You do know that Jasper will be very displeased with this.
what? Us making our shitty home a slightly more exciting home? Look, Davroid, I've known Jasper a long time. I love him to death. He's a piece of work. He's not going to be happy with most anything we do. So why don't we just have a little fun? You know, it's not hurting anybody in the fireplace. We can figure out how to like kind of keep it in there a little bit better later.
I don't know
A tree already knocked down. Let's go.
what your plan is after this, but doing this mission is very important for me, and doing it well is very important for me.
It is also important for me. We both have things on the line, you know. I understand this is a little whimsical,
And
but just
I need Jasper to be not pissed off as much as possible.
this is, trust me, we could do way worse. We could do.
You do know
way
he's
worse.
literally, our mission is literally to stop these things from happening.
It's this is. Do you want me to get rid of the rock? Because that's going to break Frode's little stone heart.
I know. That's why we're talking about it before we're doing anything.
Okay, yeah, that's fantastic. Look, how about
Willard
just-
puts his claw up from his little bed hole. Full disclosure, if you want the rock to be gone overnight, it certainly can be gone. I will
I know it
say
can
no
be.
more. And Willard will get back into his hole.
How did we end up with this? And
what if we just what if we put it at what if Willard, what if you just dig a hole a little bit deeper underneath where the fireplace is so that it comes up and so it's not jetting so far up outside the house, and you can have a little walk and it can heat the hole that you got down there a little bit, and it just keeps the fireplace a little bit nice, you know?
I'm fine with that.
I will sleep on it.
All right, there we go. Look
I'm
at that.
fine with that solution.
And then tomorrow, we go to the circus, baby!
All right.
Unless there's anything else I'm gonna. Oh, that's right. There's a tree.
There's a tree.
Do you just bring in a whole tree in?
Yes.
Okay. Are you just tossing it over? Like, how are you getting it in?
Well, I bring it to
Just
the front
drops
door,
down the chimney.
and I realize this is a bad idea. I need a hole big enough for the tree.
No.
And he's like, all right, Armis, I need a little help. Heave ho, we're to making a hole.
How's about we take the flame rock outside and it eats outside and then we bring it back inside. Is that okay, Frode?
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
Okay, great.
And Jeffrey agrees.
Okay, great. Let's burn the tree outside and then we'll bring it
All
back
right,
in.
come on, Jeffrey. Here we go. Here's your tree. All right. Now, make sure to clear out the area around the trees, because I don't want no nefarious business down there, free. So, here's your tree. Good. Go ahead and partake. I know you're a little nervous. Oh, he's just a little bit shy. Maybe if we turn around, he'll eat.
All right, you take care of that. I think I'm gonna go to bed.
All right. Good night.
Circus in the morning, everybody! Woo!
Oh, Jeffrey likes the circuit. That's a good
And we skip to the morning where Chasm Jasper arrives at a occasionally erupting chimney cabin to find a little note left for him by Armis Thrupp. Armis, do you want to tell us what you leave on the note for Jasper?
Dear bestest buddy Jasper, we're having a break day. We love you very much. I'm sorry we couldn't afford tickets. Please keep an eye on the fire and don't take it out of the house. Love, Armis.
Jasper's holding it. He just very slowly and calmly and deliberately folds the paper 7 times. And then he sits there in silence, staring at nothing, waiting until he tosses it in the fire.
It's a break day after one day?
And then we cut down to the circus. You all have arrived at Mr. Gibbs' Arachnobatic Wonderland. And so as you kind of pull up to the circus, it looks totally different today than it did last night when it was just 3 wagons pulled over. Turns out a lot of those wagons contain magical items, and so they can expand. So now there's like a big, large wooden sign held up on 2 kind of disposable versions of immovable rods that says Mr. Gibbs' Arachnobatic Wonderland on it. There are fencers who are on top of it, like swashbuckling with rapiers, just kind of, amusing people. Crowds are cheering like, if one of them gets knocked off, they fall into like kind of a bucket of water, and it's no big deal. It's not like there's any real stakes for them. There are 3 different concession stands with a variety of food for inexpensive prices. You see a unicycle just goes whizzing by with like a large flag flying above it, and there's a Sepider who is doing a handstand on 2 of his hands, pedaling with 2 more of his hands, and juggling burning sticks with 2 more of his hands. Just like wheeling around on the unicycle. There's what else do we see here? We see there's the Ferry's wheel, this giant kind of amusement that you can like strap yourself into kind of like a wooden bucket seat, and it just slowly revolves you up so you can get like this great view. There's someone in front of it yelling out, "See on the top of the mountains, look for the cone of unexpected flame!" And they're just the whole thing. It's just a whole big to do. There's so much to look at and see. You see there's also a little section where like the little kids who have come to the carnival and are maybe not quite old enough for like the fencing and the flaming sticks and stuff, they're over there, and there's like a little puppet show going on, and like gestures and stuff like that. Some of the kids are singing along with one of the bards, Tinker, Tailor, Soldier, Sailor, just other like little rhymes and stuff. Going about their business, if you will. What's everyone doing? What are you excited to do at a carnival?
Guys,
maybe Armis is taking the lead? What's going on?
This reminds me of the Glade of Wonders. Oh, Armis, show us to the next great thing.
I knew you'd love it. All right. I think first we hit the games, then we see the shows, and then we talk to the people afterwards. Does that sound good?
I love
Willard.
this idea.
Willard Davroid.
Willard is transfixed, but not in a positive way, by the Ferry's wheel. He's just staring at it and just like muttering to himself, "Too far off the ground. Why would you? No surface. What?"
Willard, right behind you, there's just as one of the pyromancers sets off a big firework, and the people are cheering. And it's just like kind of jolts you out of your staring.
Too many hickeys and gizmos here.
You head over towards the
it's
games. Armis, you are immediately caught by one of the bards who's yelling out, axe throwing, test your skills at the axe throwing. And, all 6 of his other arms that are not waving at people are holding an axe, and there's, kind of targets set up at different lengths and stuff in front of him. Anybody want to try some axe throwing? It's very inexpensive. Simple, inexpensive amount of money.
Oh, can we go?
Could I have an ongoing, equivalent perception roll for just anything shady, sneaky, nefarious? Like, he just doesn't trust this sort of thing.
Certainly.
Being outside of town.
Go ahead and roll an intellect roll for me, an intellect task.
That's a 1.
That's a 1, a natural 1. You are overawed by your first experience with a Sepider circus. There's so much sensory input that it's like it almost overwhelms you and like saturates you. Like even if you were going to take notes, there's nothing but white noise in there as you just look around from, the big sparkling lights and the fireworks and the roaring and the juggling and the fencing and it's just there's so much of it that you can't really take in any of it.
I will say, Frode's looking for something similar, but not nefarious or schemy. He's looking for anything he suspects to be of Fey origin.
Aha! We'll come back to that, Frode.
Oh.
Armis, did you say you are going over to the axe thrower?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over there. It's like, does it have to be the axes, or can my friend here throw a few knives?
If he's bringing his own knives, he's welcome to throw them. Let me see the balance. And the bard reaches out and holds out a finger to test the balance on one of the knives.
Willard, you have to do this.
Right, and Willard will, like, in order, trying not to reveal the fact that his body is just covered in these knives, just kind of reaches into his duster and pulls out one of his throwing knives and hands it to the guy.
This is impeccably balanced, sir. You are a man who knows your cutlery.
Thank you.
Now, if you take a look at this, and he expertly, but obviously not as expertly as you, kind of flips it up onto one end, catches it, and hands it back to you. If you take a look at the course here, there are 4 targets set up, and if you can hit all 4 of them while they're... And he snaps his fingers, and you hear the whoosh of energy, and they begin revolving in place. If you can hit all 4 of these targets, you win a big stuffed bear! And you look over on the side, and there's just this huge stuffed bear.
Is it like double Willard's size?
Yeah, it's like double Willard size. Yeah,
Can it be like a spider bear that has like multiple arms?
100% it can. That's a great idea.
Frode busts out, crouches down, and he's like, Willard, you understand? If we win the stuffed bear, we can put you in it and disguise you whenever we take you somewhere, and then you just pop out and bing bam, and then you do your crime fighting. It'd be awesome.
That surprisingly does sound fun. And Willard will kind of, all right, take a look at these moving targets and use the fact that they're magically moving mentally. He's going to try to use that as extra motivation as to why he would like to hit them. Like, it's like out of spite that like magic can't move these targets faster than I can hit them. Stupid magic.
Perfect.
That's the motivation he's going for.
This task is a difficulty 2 task, and because they're attack rolls, you can use might or speed.
Okay, he's going to use speed, and because he is trained in his light weapons, does that mean it's a difficulty 1 task?
That does mean it's a difficulty 1 with a target
Right.
roll of 3.
All right, and he's got to make 4 rolls.
Yep.
All right.
You got this, Willard.
Gonna roll them one at a time.
Now you only get 4 tries there, son. Do you need a
All
stool?
right.
He pulls over a stool and offers it to you.
Don't disrespect an old man.
Very well. And he tosses the stool away as if it was never there. As I was saying, take your best shot.
All right.
A small
First
crowd
one's an
is
11.
forming around you.
First one's an 11.
That's
so
a hit. That's a hit. 1 tally for the short man.
He's gonna go pretty fast the first 3, like just boom, boom, boom.
Okay.
Second roll's a 7. Third roll is a natural 20.
The crowd is going nuts. And because it's a natural 20, you get a major effect to go along with your success. What is the major effect you would like?
I would like the major effect for him to do a no-looker and make it for his 4th shot.
Easy.
Just turn his face away back towards the crowd and then toss the other one. And he's gonna do his best to not look like he didn't just really enjoy that. He's gonna try to keep the grumpy demeanor
The crowd
on.
goes nuts, cheering and screaming. Wow! And the bear is picked up and handed to you and promptly falls face forward on top of you. And like, it's just a whole, the pyrotarges are like fireworks going off right above you, different sparklers and things. It's a whole big to do.
Willard, you're amazing.
As this is happening, Frode, you do notice off in the distance, you see there near where like the puppeteers and the kids area is, there's like a petting zoo section. And you can see that among the other interesting animals, like the manticores and things like that, there's also a unicorn over there, which you're pretty confident must be Bessie. And in fact, Bessie is munching on some of that grass that you were looking at the previous day. That big like roll of fey type grasses, I guess. Fairy grasses, if you will, not prairie grasses.
Frode looks down at his wrist as if there was some sort of time-keeping mechanism there. There is none.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm quite sorry. I will meet back up with you folks. Willard, that was spot on. That was good. Oh, very good. But I have an appointment, an arrangement I have previously made, and I must take care of. And he just walks right off to the petting zoo.
You walk right over to the petting zoo where a 10-foot tall hematetian golem walks over to a petting zoo where a bunch of small children and gnomes and things. There's a sepider with like a long beard and a kind of like a shepherd's staff who's just kind of watching over everything, who just kind of looks at Frode and is like, shrugs like, they are cute, Frode, you walk in. It's like a little shin-high fence, because it's just for little kids. And Bessie the unicorn is just off in the corner.
Frode sits down so that way while sitting down he's now at equal level. Respect and whatnot. All right. And Frode attempts to speak what he remembers of Fey language to this unicorn. Frode can roll if you would like.
Does Frode have any Fey language that he remembers?
Probably not, since a lot of his memory was confuddled from previously adventures.
Roll an intellect task with a difficulty of 5.
All right. He is going to take a level of effort for this. Do that and make that difficulty level 4. It doesn't matter, rolling that 20.
Frode, it comes back to you in a flash. You're sitting there looking at Bessie. Bessie's eating these prairie grasses, and suddenly you're not looking at Bessie. You take a blink, and another piece of the memory puzzle falls into place for Frode. You remember a large field, rippling grasses, a non-golem version of yourself kind of striding across them, feeling your first feel of Feywild fairy grasses, and looking off in the distance and seeing that, like, yes, there's a forest way out there, but there's also one lone tree here in the center, and it looks like a few people are maybe gathered under it, seated in a circle, and then you're back where you are, but you can remember some of the language you studied for so many years before you made it there. And in front of you is Bessie the unicorn.
Bessie, how do and he picks up some hay grass, but just a little tiny bit.
Bessie leans forward and eats the grass right out of your hand.
And he pulls out a little he pulls out you know what, yes, he pulls out a piece of that tree that had been singed by magical fire from last night.
Bessie leans down and sniffs it.
Do we do anything here, guys?
You get the impression that Bessie is a creature of few or perhaps 0 words.
So Armis, when you say that, you look over, like, Davroid is, like, lost, I guess, in the circus, but, like, in a more paranoid sense. Like, he's, like, so concerned that something bad is going to happen here, so he's, like, constantly, like, looking at everyone, like, making sure his back isn't against, or, like his back is against something so no one can sneak up on him.
I'm sorry, Davroid.
Willard is covered by the stuffed spider bear, intentionally, so that he cannot see or hear anything that's going on in this madhouse around him.
This is his new panic room.
Yes.
Frode, as you're sitting... Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike, you had a hand up.
Guys, I'm sorry. We can let Frode do this for a little bit. I believe places like this tend to have a chill-out tent, or something like that for people who are overstimulated. Does that sound all right?
Yes, that sounds perfect.
All right. Davroid? Let's go to the chill-out tent.
Great. Armis, you lead your 2 friends towards the chill-out tent. Frode, you continue attempting to speak to Bessie the unicorn. The shepherd comes over and leans in, so as not to kind of distract the kids and stuff who are petting them. And he goes, "You speak it? I don't speak it. I just recognize it. I don't."
I'm sorry. Once upon a time, I spoke it, and I guess I speak it now. Funny how that works.
What were you trying to do? You're trying to get... Surely you don't eat grass.
Well, that's none of your business now, is it?
I'm just trying to understand.
Well, I'm trying to negotiate for some grass with Bessie here, but I see Bessie is not one for philosophical ideas such as the touch of a fired
Yes,
spirits,
Bessie's just a horse with a poke. Bessie don't speak.
All right. Well, how about this then? And he reaches out a hand and pets Bessie as comforting as he can. And he gives a little of the hay to Bessie. And then takes a little bit of hay for himself. And nibbles on it a little bit and looks at Bessie for a reaction.
Bessie leans down and kind of like nuzzles at your hand a little bit, like trying to get into the prairie grass, but does not seem otherwise disturbed by the fact that you just tried to eat some of her grass.
All right, and I'd give her the left of that, but I think Bessie here has negotiated with me fairly here, and if you're willing to be witness upon this contract, I will take...
You can't plant it. Like,
it doesn't grow on
this side. You'd have to go over if you wanted to plant a crop.
I just need an ounce of it. That's all I need. I don't need to grow it. No, that's information, and information's always a trade. You know the gimmick.
I don't think I know the gimmick. Look, if you're trying to get to it's not like some kind of magical. It's not magical here. It's just magical when it grows. It loses the magic when you pick it. You'd have to go back to the other side. Look, if you're trying to get your own crop of magic grass or whatever, you need to talk to the guy in Hembley who.
Well, no. I'm trying no such thing, and I
he goes
find
over there
offense
to
that you...
harvest it himself. So if you want some, you just go talk to him.
Now, I do want some right now, just an ounce, and I do not need it for its magical properties, but I have another gift idea for it. But it needs to be this kind of hay. It's for a gift for a friend, you see.
Okay.
But that information you have given up freely, I do gratefully appreciate that.
Armis can sense another endless haggle loop.
I'm gonna go check on the kids. Armis, you lead your friends to the chill out tent, and it's quieter in here, and it's peaceful. And there's little cups of water. They're blissfully non-arcane, Willard, so you can. It's just a normal glass, normal pitcher, normal water. There for you to drink, and you kind of sit there and chill out for a little while. You're not the only ones. There are a few other creatures in here who are just kind of relaxing and trying to decompress a little bit, de-stress. It's a fairly large tent, probably about the size of like a suburban basement, and you're seated on kind of comfortable chairs, as comfortable as a traveling troupe can have. They're still wooden, but they're a little bit form-fitting and stuff. And as you're sitting there looking around, you see that one of the people who's in the chill-out room is actually just looking out through the door of the chill-out room. It looks like it's a security person who's just kind of keeping themselves, out of the way so that they can look around and see what's going on. You notice a sheriff's badge clipped in at their waist, Willard. This is a sheriff from Tumbleweb, who is probably you're familiar with the practice. This is probably like an extended leave where they're kind of making some extra money by joining up as traveling security for someone. And
is it someone that, like, if I look closer, is it someone that I would recognize?
It's someone who would, yes, it's someone you would recognize and who would recognize you if they saw you. But it is not one of your friends from the department. It's one of the people who busted you.
All right. Willard is going to shift the big stuffed spider bear so that it's between him and the security man, the security mole. And just kind of like, you'll see him suddenly, he went from kind of like maybe like rocking back and forth, kind of looking around in the tent, enjoying his water, to kind of like sitting stock still, like just kind of not making a motion.
Davroid probably settling out of his overstimulation, leans over to what's going on?
Nothing.
All right, well, you guys hang out in here. I'm gonna go make sure Frode isn't accosting some poor gentleman about a horse.
Armis, as you walk back outside, you notice that a benign little pocket of magic, little cipher, has formed on the ground just outside the tent. Probably a result of some of the crazy magic-iness that's happening here at
Jeez Louise.
the fair.
Can I pick it up on my way out? It's like,
You're just gonna like immediately grab it, not examine or anything first?
yeah, whatever. I'm too dazzled by the thing. I just want to keep on moving. It's like, oh, goodies.
Okay. Ooh, goodies. You gain a cipher of expanded intellect. It is level 4, and it will ease intellect tasks by 4 steps once. You pick that up and you walk out of the tent, and as you walk out of the tent, you actually hear that like the bards are beginning to cry, all right, the main event's coming up. Everybody towards the tents. You don't want to miss the main event. This is what you've all been waiting for. I know things are fun out here. Things are great out here. Top up your drinks. Fill up your food bowls. Come on inside. You're not going to want to miss this magnificent display of arachnobatic wonder. And the spiders are, shepherding the crowds towards the main. Well, you'd expect a main tent. It's not a tent. It's like a tiny little shanty. It's like a single little wooden building with a door in it. And it's thin. It's like snow cone stand sized, but the whole crowd is going in. And as they open the door, people are walking in, and you don't hear any like screams or, of disappointment or whatever from inside.
Oh God, I love arachnid wonder. Frode!
And I clasp him on the back as soon as he says my name. Hello there. I've just done a fantastic deal.
You got an actual deal, Frode? Something
Frode
actually
is
happened?
holding a tiny amount of fairy grass.
Yes,
Okay.
I did a great deal.
I'm glad we're having fun. I poke back into the chill out tent. Guys, I'm so sorry that I have to cut things short, but we have to go to the big event right now. Is that okay? Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm reset.
Willard just kind of like gives like a little like smile, like kind of like, but like doesn't say anything.
Where are you? Where's the short one? Willard?
Willard like eyes wide, like puts out a claw, like tone, like voice down, like.
Oh, sorry. This is the quiet room.
Willard is holding up the claw, and behind the bear, Trevor is going to roll a D4, and Mike is going to roll a D4. And if Trevor rolls a higher number, then Willard gets spotted.
That's a 4.
Oh.
Trevor rolled a 3. Willard, you are not noticed because you're on the opposite side of the bear, and you are able to, if you leave right now, I'll let you make it out without any future checks.
Okay, Willard is
We're all
going to
leaving.
take the bear with him, keep it on that side of him.
Willard is
and,
suddenly
like,
so ready.
just like scurry out.
Yeah, Willard, quick time waddles out, heads towards. The kids are still singing their little song, "Rich man, poor man, beggar man," as they all, everybody runs into the main building there, and you find yourselves. You step into this tiny shanty, but you find yourselves in a massive amphitheater. You are in a demi-plane. This is a space that the troupe has developed exclusively as their performing amphitheater. And as you're sitting in there, a few people are walking around the seats checking tickets. As they check your ticket, they do like a little hole punch to it, and a shower of gold confetti rains down upon you from the ceiling as everyone's ticket gets punched. So there's just like a slow wave of gold confetti ringing the outside of it. There's a jester in full court regalia at the center of the amphitheater. Come on, come all! Inviting everybody in. And you begin watching just a fantastic show. I mean, there's unicorn ring jousting. You see Bessie, Bessie gets put to work a little bit, and so there are these rings kind of hanging and suspended in the air, and Bessie's sprinting around, galloping, and kind of collecting them all. People are cheering and going crazy. There are like arcane acrobatics. So there's a bunch of like trapezes and ropes and things, but they don't connect the way that like a Cirque du Soleil style show would. They're much too short. And so you get to see people kind of channeling different arcane abilities as they leap from one place to another or land in impossible feats of balance and poise. And it actually turns into a little bit of like a dance as well, where it's kind of synchronized with music that the bards are playing in a ring at the base of the circus. I mean, it really is a fantastic show. There's a stage magician who, for the bit, like doesn't do any magic. Like it's all magic the way that we understand it. It's not arcane in nature. They're like real sleight of hand card tricks and stuff. And a little bit of a stand-up comic, gives you a little bit of laughing and relief. And there's even the main event where, some circuses might do like lion taming or something like that. This circus does troll fighting. And there is a supplier down there with a number of blunted javelins in each arm. and they send a troll into the room. And when you think troll, you probably think larger ogre, but the trolls that this circus has found or bred or tamed or whatever, however it's worked, these trolls are massive hulking creatures that make that make our hematician look small. They are creatures with 4 arms, 2 on each side, that are long enough that they kind of droop down to the ground like apes would have. And as they walk around, the footsteps are enough to like shake the ground of the amphitheater. And the Sepider is doing incredibly nimble and dexterous feats to like duck through the different attacks and swipes from this massive troll. And the troll is not very dexterous, but it's fast just because it's so big. It's only a few steps for it to cover a long distance. And so there's kind of a tug and a give and a take, and there's a lot of chase happening. And then finally there's like this moment where the Sepider gets like backhanded by one of the troll strikes, and the whole crowd, you know, and there, it's very engaging. And then by the end of it, the troll is tamed by the spears being used more like leashes, where they like leap onto its back and kind of use the spears to like steer it. So they kind of like javelin underneath its arms and are using those to steer it, and they steer it back into a cage and sweep into a big bow, and there's lots of applause and everyone's going crazy. And then there's like a celebration. There's like a fireworks show at the very end to like celebrate, and so the whole top of the amphitheater is ringed by this big. And Davroid, with your particularly observant sense, and Armis, because you're so sharp-eyed and because you're so in tune with the Sepider Circus, which you love, the two of you notice that the fireworks show seems to have gone off early and appears to be covering for the fact that there was supposed to be a puppet segment of the show. You can see the little booth up near the ceiling where a puppeteer should have been able to be controlling the strings, and you can see that the music is kind of like it's playing in such a way where like there ought to be like a little sing-along section for the kiddos, you know. Now that we've finished the big arrangement, you always got to try and keep the kids happy at the end of a performance like this, and they seem to be sort of covering for it. And so it's still circusing, but now they're a little bit out of sync. They're, you know, it's still good, but it's like you've seen better because they're normally more in sync, and you notice that like this puppeteer is missing. A little bit more time goes by, and the stilt walkers come out, and the jugglers juggling their spikes and their swords. And right at the center of the group, there is a manticore that's doing backflips and all kinds of interesting things. Again, our two more observant fellows, the two of you pick up on the fact that there seems to be a ring of smoke lingering at the end of the fireworks. Like the fireworks have finished and dissipated, but there's still kind of like a haze of smoke that is a little too thick. And as you watch, you notice that there's maybe a little bit of like a crack appearing at the top of the demi-plane that you're in.
No.
And then very abruptly, the music comes to a halt, and one of the bards runs out. You know, other people are still performing, but like, you know, unicycles tipping over and stuff as everyone tries to figure out what's going on. And the MC comes to the center of the amphitheater and says, "Folks, we're experiencing a little bit of a technical difficulty. If you wouldn't mind please making your way back out into the carnival grounds proper, we'll be happy to get you set back up with some games and some food, and we'll come back tomorrow night for another fantastic show. Thanks for joining us for Mr. Gibbs' Arachnobatic." And then you hear from outside the demi-plane, which should not be possible, this and screaming, and there's a little bit of like a rumble as, you know, something is falling or fault lines are appearing or something's happening outside, and the room just devolves into panic. People sprinting for the doors. The troll like breaks loose and goes rushing out. Just all kinds of crazy things. And that is where tonight's adventure at the Winged Badger Tavern comes to a close.
No. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Not my circus!
Not the Sepider Circus.
Who would have ever thought something would go wrong?
Before we call it a night, though, we need to revisit our characters' personal journeys. We will begin with our overarching quest arc of sort of forming a team and establishing yourselves as a force. And I think we did take a step towards that today, because there is a talk about communication and then kind of a chance to put it into practice. So I would say that's 2 XP for everybody from that. And then let's look at some of our B plots here. How do we feel like, let's just start with Mr. Armis Thrupp. Armis, do you feel like you took any big steps on your character journey tonight?
I think he got a little lost in the wonder of the circus, so I don't know if that equates to being a better man or having any redemption. We did work together. I think it was, I tried to encourage Willard to have fun. I tried to find little things for everybody, so.
I will say Armis took some leadership at the beginning.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I think Armis in this episode, at least from Willard or my perspective, it's a little bit of there seemed to be a bit of a step up into a position that's been lacking in our first couple outings together. So I would say that's a step.
I could definitely see that. Let's talk about Davroid Gravelheart. Davroid on a journey to establish himself as a person of importance or skill in his field among his peers. Doesn't need to be famous, he just wants to be recognized by his equals. How do we feel like Davroid is doing?
I don't think this was his session. And especially with like the 16 attempts, like probably did not leave a good impression on Jasper. But yeah, I don't think this was it for him.
He just didn't have a spotlight. I don't think this session.
Fine.
But
What do you think is like the next step on his journey? What do you think he needs? Like, what's the first step to breaking through that wall?
I think him showing initiative and being able to convey various ideas to the team before we just rush into things would be very good for him, and show Jasper like what he is capable of.
So maybe almost taking advantage of the fact that Armis is stepping into that leadership role. There might be some opportunities in the next crisis, whenever that happens, for him to, provide some expert analysis before the team moves.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about Frode the Forsaken. Do we feel like Frode took any steps on his journey to essentially understand and get removed a negative situation that he has found himself in?
I will say I feel like I didn't do enough perception checks for hats.
That is
it's
a fair
okay to
point.
move beyond that. That's what Willard thinks, at least.
But on the other hand, I mean, he did learn a little bit about previous things. He's learned about a potential person who can give him an in on getting back into the Feywilds at Hillbilly Who.
Mm-hmm. He also unlocked part of his memory by being able to speak Fey.
That's true.
That's true.
And he also strolled into a lake and tumbled down a hill.
That would be, by the way, the kind of thing that one could spend 3 XP to make permanent.
I would love to spend 3 XP to make that permanent.
Just giving you the in there.
That was a great idea. I forgot to think about that.
So it sounds like maybe Frode did take a step towards his kind of understanding of like what he needs to do next. Would you agree?
I'd say so.
All right. So that'll be 2 more XP for Frode. Let's talk about Willard Taffy. Willard, who's on kind of a redemption journey. He's got something dark in his past and wants to kind of make reparations for it and re-enter the world as kind of a person of honor.
I would say that I appreciate that you as the DM in this session have set up an opportunity for him to make some growth next session. But I think that he just did his knee-jerk reaction and hide from his past in this session. But I think that sets up something good for next session. But this session, I would say I don't think he necessarily made a huge step, if that makes sense.
Sure. That makes sense.
But I'm excited to see what happens next.
Cool.
Because he might actually make a step.
He might actually make a step.
Imagine
Imagine
One
that.
step goes in front of the other.
And that's all from us here at the Winged Badger Tavern. We'll be back next Monday with a tavern talk where Jake is going to teach us a little bit about the skill of being a player in a tabletop game. Jake, you want to give us a little preview of what we can expect, or are we not ready for that quite yet?
I think a little preview would be thinking about your character and what they want and what they need and what their goals are, And how does that translate into how you should roleplay that character, and what are some good ways you can let that character and their journey shine a little bit? That's what we're going to talk about.
And until then, from all of us here at the Winged Badger Tavern, in the voice of Frode the Forsaken, negotiating to get it said, what do we say to the people?
All right, now, you gotta hold the G. All right, then. You know what? Deal taken. GG and GN. That would be one name, please.
Good night, everybody.